Hi all! So a while ago on YouTube, I stumbled down a wormhole of small kitchen appliance reviews. As I was looking to buy an air fryer and perhaps maybe a pressure cooker, that's when I stumbled across one of the worst YouTube chefs of all time. His name is Jack Scalfani, as I like to call him, Jack Salmonella Scalfani. I watch video after video of him butcher, sometimes quite literally, recipes. Imagine driving slowly past a multi-car pileup on the interstate. That's my face as I watched him teach the internet how to make partially cooked meals of varying types and taking awful and unneeded shortcuts to recipes that are already quick to prepare. The absolute horror of Jack's lazy man chefing, air quote, techniques to my boyfriend Tom. And now, since we can't unsee it, we are opening your eyes to it as well. I'm Michelle, and I welcome you to join us for this horrific journey, better known as Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man. Welcome back to Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man.
Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man. That's right, folks. We're getting back into the habit of doing recorded podcasts now that the Pink Chicken and I are safely ensconced in our Carolinian studio.
The new Carolinian studio.
Yes, pc&tlm Industries, the Southeast Division. Go, Dukalina.
Sports ball team.
Sports phalanx, yes. Do the thing, win the points.
I'm Pink Chicken Michelle, in case you forgot.
I am the Lazy Man Tom.
You've probably been joining our live streams, which we appreciate.
The Boys Club.
The Boys Club live streams, which happen.
Yeah, we'll get that right one.
Every 2 p.m. on Saturday, which we usually discuss Jack's live stream, as well as his episodes for the week on his Jack on the Go and Cooking with Jack channels.
Along with all of the hilarity and sanity you've come to know, love, and expect from Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man.
As you know, if you follow our live streams, you know that Jack has completely stopped his live streams. Wednesday, when he did do Wednesdays, and Saturday.
First the piggy fell, and then everything fell.
We haven't seen Piggy in a number of months. We don't know if he's even still with us.
You think you turned him into ribs?
Possibly. He may have smoked him.
Pork. Yes, he may have smoked him.
On Smokeback Mountain.
Indeed.
But he's
Gun,
been...
food, and family.
He's been hiding him with a number of items on his counter. The video that we're going to show you, he's hiding...
and Ramsey.
He's hiding him with a box, but later he hides him with a hat and then what we believe to be an acorn squash.
It looks like an acorn squash. They have named Gordon Ramsay.
We miss you, Piggy. We wish we could see you again.
We wish we see you, Piggy. We wish we see you. Steam Gloves, however, is prominent.
We see you, Steam Glove, now.
Exactly.
That's our little
Let's
aside.
see what else we can get him to take down.
But...
we see you, Bistro Sign. We see you.
Yeah, it seems like everything that we notice, Jack tries to hide in his kitchen. So if we mention enough things, we might come in one day and the counter may be just bare.
It could be.
Let's get into the podcast that we're reviewing on this episode, which is Wet Brine versus Dry Brine, Test Part 1.
One of the most infamous Jack videos in a very long time.
This one was published back early May of 2021.
May 7th, 2021.
We did cover it in one of our live streams, but we wanted to really take a deep dive and really dissect what the hell went wrong here.
There's a lot to dissect.
Oh, God, yes.
Lots of weird, squiggly pieces hanging on. And the same trepidation that you felt in high school biology class when they made you start taking dissection. When they're like, here, have an earthworm. Cut it into pieces. Up next will be the frog. And if you're in the honors class, the fetal piggy. That's kind of the same trepidation and fear and revulsion you feel going into a Jack Brine video. And as well you should, because this is a whole nother class, a whole nother level of awfulness. Just another obese man-toddler who just can't wait. Takes every shortcut, cuts every corner to get the meat in his mouth.
We open with some of Jack's fake sponsorship.
As Pink Chicken said, this video was published on May 7th by the date on his buttermilk that he's going to use here, because in part 1 he does the wet brine, which is actually a buttermilk brine. This video was produced in May, and this is at the time when Jack was just getting knee-deep to waist-deep into the Profile by Sanford diet. Mommy wife Tammy knocking Jack off of everything, so all Jack can think about is food and, more to the point, meat. This is Jack being a little crazy, so he's going into these bizarre food experiments like wet versus dry brine.
And that's not to say like brining chicken or dredging chicken in buttermilk is bad, because it works very well when you fry it. It's just Jack's technique here, again, is just
because Pink Chicken
awful.
And I do our research.
Awful.
We've watched tonight we've watched about 5 or 6 of these videos. We wanted to see how popular the buttermilk brine roasted chicken was, and actually, like, where did this idea come from? And it seems to come from the cookbook that was released, I guess it was last year or the year before, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, a very popular cookbook. Lots of people were paying attention to that.
There's a series on Netflix about it as well.
Yes, so that's kind of the whole idea of the whole buttermilk brined roasted chicken. That's kind of took off from there, it seems. That's the where the latest obsession, the latest craze with that came from. And of course that boiled down to the New York Times, and that filtered down through a bunch of other YouTube channels. So of course it ends up at the gutter with Jack.
So let's get into it. We're gonna hit play here in a couple seconds.
Now you haven't heard this in a while, folks, but synchronize your YouTubulators. We'll be hitting play in 5, 4, 3, 2, and we are live in the Scalfani kitchen. It's overexposed. It's way off white balance. Just, there's so much going on in terms of the image. He's wearing the pumpkin shirt. There's too much crap on his counter. You can see the digital artifacting going on the shirt. He's blathering on in the first couple of minutes here, talking about his Linktree barcode. He's like, oh, if you go down to the link and then through the Linktree and then click on these links, you'll get to my social media links. Just put the social media links. You don't, why play games? You have no idea how internet analytics work. You have no idea how internet marketing works. Normally when you do these little cute tricks with your URL shorteners and your, oh, go here to click here to click here, you're doing that so you're following the metric. Jack has no idea.
Jack looks very pink in this video too, and I'm sure it's probably because he's got a red bowl, he's got a purple bowl, and he's got that orange shirt on, and he probably didn't white balance the camera. Now he's getting into his Sabo stretch that he got, which is basically an arm splint, and it's helping his claw hands stop curling at the fist area. And he's like, look, it's working really well. And then he tries to pick up quarts of buttermilk.
We timed it. He makes it about 2 seconds. By the time he gets to the third second, he completely loses all motor control of the arm. That's Sabo is only one of his fake sponsors. So he has the Linktree, which is just a URL shortening service you could get anywhere. He has Profile by Sanford, which he's on about his eating regimen and how much weight he's losing. And this is at the very beginning of when he was talking about the Profile by Sanford, he was always interested in this body scanning they were doing for him, this body fat composition scanning that Profile by Sanford, because Profile by Sanford is done by the Sanford Health Systems, so it's medically supervised weight loss, so they have access to healthcare tools. So they were scanning Jack in the beginning. That seemed to happen less and less as it went on. Jack stopped talking about that in his videos, so one wonders if they just gave up. They're like, look, every time we do this, we get more depressed, so we're gonna stop scanning you. Or if that was just sort of like the gimmick, where they're like, oh, yeah, look, you're doing this and that, and then as you go into it, you begin concentrating more on what you should be eating, which of course we know Jack never did.
He explains that this is a 2-part video series. He's doing a wet brine and he's doing a dry brine. And the dry brine, which he talks about here, is a dry buttermilk powder that he plans on covering the bird with. This one is the wet brine. Now on his counter, he has 2 bowls. One has a chicken in it and one is empty. And he has
bringing up to room temperature.
2 quarts of buttermilk and then a variety of spices, which you can't really see until we get in closer when he says, come in close and I'll show you what's going on.
The white balance is so off in this video. His flesh tone is too pink. His shirt's too orange. Everything has everything that isn't pink or orange has a blue cast to it. It's just awful. He's babbling on here. Well, am I supposed to use 1 quart of buttermilk or 2 quarts? You only have a 1 quart bowl in front of you, so you're not even going to be able to fit the second quart. By the way, that red bowl with the little pitcher handle on it, we've seen him use that to eat out of, so we're up to the title card now. Sit on the red bowl.
I didn't even notice, but you're right, that the buttermilk says April 21st for the expiration date on it, or the use by date.
So this is, it was bought in early April, so this video is probably being recorded in second week of April, maybe. Didn't actually get it on the air until May 7th, which is normally for his production turnaround.
This part confuses me because he's got the 2 bowls there. He's got one with the chicken in it and one where he's mixing the brine together. You just do this all in one bowl. Why make mommy wife Tammy wash another bowl? Because you know he ain't gonna do it.
Now Jack is adding spices to the buttermilk that he put in the red big bowl. And I a while ago, I had advanced this theory to Pink Chicken that the way Jack measures spices is he covers the surface of the container. Whatever bowl or whatever he's mixing in, if it's dry, he's got to make a little mountain. If it's wet, he's got to cover it like a pool cover. He covers the whole top surface of the liquid.
The seasonings he's using, it was salt, pepper. I believe that's is that oregano?
That could be oregano.
Or Italian seasoning.
Then he had some red pepper flake, which we've seen another chef actually do.
It might be oregano, and it might be
the surface of his bowl looks like a highway in autumn. Like the seasoning is just covered with leaves.
Yeah,
like all the leaves are falling off the trees.
Admittedly, it is a quart of buttermilk. Here's the part where it gets confusing. He notes that him and Tammy went to Sam's Club.
Of course.
And he picked up cilantro lime seasoning, which looks like a McCormick bottle maybe. And everything else that he put in here up until this point, while excessive, made sense. Now he's adding this, which goes with a lot of it. Nothing.
Right. The closest you could come to is that some people, when they roast a chicken, they put a whole lemon in the cavity of the chicken so it flavors the chicken a little bit. And that acid gets released into the chicken.
I don't get the lime. And then
now he adds a red pepper flake.
Yeah, he puts...
so red pepper and cilantro and lime?
I don't know. And you get mad about the double pipe fork. I hate this...
the ball whisk.
The ball whisk.
Ball whisk.
Ball whisk should be someone's burner account.
Why do you say that? Ball whisk.
Whisk.
The whisk.
Yeah, and he can't stir it. He gives it to his dead stroke arm.
Yeah, that's even worse. Again, he's trying to show off how well the Sabo device is working for him.
And it's not. It's
the anti-jack-off wrist.
It's just not.
No.
So here we're going to pour the brine into, again, this is an unnecessary step. He could have mixed it all in the same bowl.
Just put the chicken in it. Just drop the chicken in it. But he didn't, because idiot didn't realize that, it's a 1 quart bowl. Here's 1 quart of buttermilk. If you add the 1 quart buttermilk to the 1 quart bowl, you're not going to have any room for anything else. So he couldn't add the chicken into the red bowl.
What confuses me here is, how does this bowl make it to the fridge?
It's filled to the brim.
It's filled to the brim. And there's
buttermilk spilling everywhere.
He limps like a motherfucker, and he can't use his one arm.
He's wearing his turquoise Roman toga shirt.
This is the second day. This is day 2. He pulls out he pulls out the vat of buttermilk, and the first thing he pulls out is a giblet bag. He's like, oh, what's this?
I didn't realize
that's the neck. Oh.
So you think, okay, well, he's just setting it on the roasting pan. He's going to get rid of that because A, it's plastic, and B, he's just going after the chicken. He's not going to do anything with the giblets. We'll find in a few minutes what happens to the giblet bag, and we will speak of that. But right now, he just lays the chicken down. I was talking with Pink Chicken about this. Normally when you see a chef on television, they turn the chicken so that you're looking at the side of the chicken. You're not looking at the front of the chicken or the rear of the chicken, because both of those are just not appetizing to look at. You want to look at the side of the chicken with the leg and a little bit of the wing and the breast, the hump of the breast showing. Not Jack. Jack makes it look like the chicken has been hit by a car and it's leaking all of its precious, leaking all of its precious fluids down the chicken. And then
the reveal. The reveal happens. Get the timestamp on this, because it's a moment in history.
Yes. We have to warn our viewers. In good conscience, we cannot let you go into this video alone. Folks, if you have never seen this video before, I caution you, make sure at the 7-minute and 25-second time index into the video that if you're eating something, please put it down. If you're drinking something, please put it down. Might take a sip of water, clean your mouth out a little bit, spit that out. You make sure you're sitting down.
Make sure you don't have any sharp objects or large objects that you may want to lob at the TV to break it.
If you ever saw the Mel Gibson movie Payback, where he knows he's gonna ram another car, and he has one of those black plastic mouthpieces that boxers put in, and he puts the gloves on and he puts the mouthpiece in and he braces himself with the 5-point safety harness. These are the levels of precaution you need to be taking before you hit play if you've paused it as we have told you at the 7-minute and 25 seconds, because when you get to 7 minutes and 30 seconds into this video, your life will change.
And not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Your life will now be defined by the time you had before you saw the results of the Jack Wet Brine video and this time after. Because when you hit play, you are treated to a David Cronenbergian... If instead of making the movie The Fly, if he took all of that horror special effects and said, I'm going to make a cooking video with it, that's what you're looking at. If you remember the first time in the transportation chamber opened and Jeff Goldblum's ruined visage climbed out of the chamber with the smoke and the dripping goo, that's what you're looking at. That is what Jack has metamorphosized the chicken into. Jack has turned a normal roasted chicken into a science fiction horror show.
Somehow the chicken looks burned in certain areas and raw in other areas, and just plain...
We're pausing it now to just take the chicken in from left to right of the frame. range.
Yes.
First of all, it's accusingly headless. Jack did no preparation on this. He did not truss the chicken. He did not fold the wings underneath it. He did not do anything with the legs. So the chicken is basically leg down. The wings look like they're pressed into the roasting chair, and where the chicken's head was is popped up because Jack, taking no preparation, instead of trussing the chicken, so the chicken has like shrunk in on itself. The skin on its back is pulled up, so it looks like the chicken is twerking because its legs are down,
the twerk
its rump
chicken,
is up. Yes, I named this twerk chicken, and it's also laying in a puddle of
diarrhea,
blackened buttermilk.
Yeah.
Every recipe we saw of this, anyone who said you're doing this told you immediately, take a tea towel, take paper towel, rinse it off if you have to, but whatever you do,
get rid of the buttermilk, the excess.
Get rid of the excess wet buttermilk,
right?
Because it's going to turn into a horror show like Jack's has.
And not only that, while we're paused here to take this all in, Jack had put this chicken on one of his baking sheets.
One of his silicone baking mats.
It's on a sheet pan with the silicone baking mat where has the cookie cutout things,
yes,
like the My First Cookie.
Remember the really horrible meatballs in the gamer food video?
Same one.
Yeah.
And he put it breast side down, which confuses me. Like, wouldn't you want the breasts roasted nice? I mean, I've seen...
Well, it's also the thickest part of the bird that's the thickest part of just uninterrupted meat is the breast of the chicken.
Now, if you look at in certain areas here, I'm going to point out, near the leg, the wing that's facing towards you, there's pink, like reddish pink areas of this chicken. It's not cooked all the way through.
When Jack casually started mentioning about, we're going to throw it in the oven for, I don't even think, did he give the oven temperature? But he said, it's only going to go in for like 50 minutes to an hour. Everybody else who did this gave very specific, precise instructions. In fact, the recipe from Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat specifically tells you what corner of the oven to put the chicken in.
Yeah, and you're supposed to put it in at 425 and then
reduce the heat to 400.
And then move it to another corner for 30 minutes.
All of that is to get an even browning to the skin of the chicken so that you don't get what Jack has here, although what Jack has here is an abomination.
It's not even roasted.
One of the wings looks slightly under roasted, but as the best part of it. There's a Gorbachevian birthmark of roasted doneness on the ass of the twerk chicken.
Yeah. A cigarette burn.
It literally looks like someone lit the chicken on fire and let it burn. This looks like spontaneous combustion has happened to this poor bird.
Oh yeah, with all the crap underneath it, yeah. Looks like diarrhea.
And Jack looks at this and is just indefatigable. He's inflammable. He's like, yep, this looks done to me. Yep, this is fine. You have been cooking for 15 years of your life. Has been nothing but cooking.
When he rotates it around, if you look toward the breast, it's very pink, like where the neck is sticking out, where the head's supposed to be.
Yes, the head of the twerk chicken.
If you look at the bottom underneath that, where like there's the cavity and then there's the breast area, it's dark pink. And then the other side of the chicken looks sorta kinda roasted. Looks a little bit better than the other side when he rotates it, but not by much.
Then we get into more of the Cronenberg horror show of the chicken, because when he turns the pan and you can see the full transverse angle of the pan from head to foot, you realize he left the goddamn plastic bag of chicken innards that you're only supposed to, you're supposed to open that and put it in a little pan and make gravy out of it or make a stock out of it. You're supposed to make flavor with that. He left the goddamn bag of chicken innards on the roasting pan, on the silicone baking mat, and he baked it.
He probably wants to eat them.
Like a shrinky dink. So the plastic shrinky dinked around those chicken innards that are probably still cold on the inside because the plastic as an insulator holds the heat in.
What kills me is...
Jack is so beside himself by having to stick to this diet plan that we all know he's now off of. He didn't even think to throw away the plastic bag. That's how low effort Jack's videos have become.
When he goes back to the kitchen shot, when you see him standing in his kitchen, like when we're not on the close-up of the chicken, there is clearly a meat thermometer sitting on his counter. How in the hell did he measure, if he even used it?
Nope.
Let's just say if he even used it. How did he think that this was done using a meat thermometer?
First of all, aside from the fact that this is a pre-recorded video program, he records this, he edits it, he puts in graphics, sometimes he puts in weird Baby Calliope music, sometimes he puts in weird bossa nova music, but Jack goes through a process of post-production to do that. To edit a video like this, you have to pull it up on a screen. And you're telling me that this guy sat there looking at this screen of this god-awful, half-burnt, half-raw chicken laying on a pan, and not once in the entirety of doing the the video did he go, you know what? This looks awful. I could probably do better. Not Jack. Jack is Frank Sinatra. Once and done, baby. One take, that's all you get. I got one chicken, you get one take. If I fuck it up, we're doing it live. Jack is the Bill O'Reilly of cooking shows.
Yes,
Why?
I agree.
Why? You're not, this is not a television program. You're not broadcasting this. You're recording it. If it doesn't look good to you, it's not going to look good to anybody else. Do it over.
Maybe he thinks it looks good, though.
If that's the case, he's an even bigger deluded man-child than I thought he was. And that's saying something, because we're at the bottom of the barrel here. You got to scrape through the wood to get a lower opinion. Scrape that bottom of the barrel. Speaking of scrape the bottom of the barrel, he keeps turning this chicken like he's going to find the good angle of it, like it's the camera's fault. Like, oh, well, you're just not looking at it right. And he's patting it with pride. Like, look what I made, mommy. Look at the mess I made, mommy. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh God.
When he flips the chicken to the reverse side, there's like a 4-inch square part
there's
of roasted
Piggy.
skin.
There's Piggy. He came out.
We see you, Piggy. We see you.
Oh, this is day 2. He moved that box of whatever was covering
where
him.
the spices came in.
Yep.
Look at this. He's going to do that stupid spice video.
Let's get a timestamp here.
At 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Now, Jack has, as we all know, what would you say, Pink Chicken? A dozen knife sets at this point.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's got the rare Japanese models. He's got the ones you get at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Amazon
He's got the
crap.
Henkels.
Yeah.
Might have a Wusthof Trident hidden in there somewhere. Probably not. He doesn't go that high tech. We know he has Ginsus. So he can choose any knife he wants for this. He's got carving knives. He probably has electric carving knives. What with Jack? What is one usable arm? The other arm has obviously failed. What cutting utensil does Jack choose to use to hack away at his Cronenberg? It's a meat cleaver. The kind of thing that you would use mostly for separating ribs or chopping away or hacking away at a big chop or a London broil. If Jack was the type that would sharpen his own instruments, that he knew it has a razor.
You're asking for a lot there.
I don't even think this thing was sharpened. The way he starts hacking at the bone to separate the leg from the carcass of the Cronenberg. Hashtag Cronenberg. When you use a cutting instrument, if you have to use the weight of the blade, not the sharpness of the blade, the knife is not sharp enough. Jack, just like a hatchet. You know how an axe works? It works off the force. It doesn't work off the sharpness of the blade. Jack is axing through the leg of this chicken.
He's only got the one arm, so he doesn't really have the strength. He doesn't have the upper body strength.
Well, yeah, a serrated knife would not work, because with a serrated knife you have to saw, which means you have to hold the chicken down, and obviously he can't do that with dead arm crab.
I don't think the chicken is all the way through, so I think they're still cooked all the way through, rather.
Oh, Lord, no, yeah.
So there's little resistance.
Oh, the cartilage and the sinew is still rubbery.
Yes, and that's
in place.
And that's causing issues too, and probably the knife is not sharp also.
The worst part about using the cleaver is it's a big shiny metal surface, and before he puts it in the chicken, it's clean. But when he cleaves off that leg, you could see on the blade of the cleaver, on all of that shiny metal surface, just the undercooked gunk inside the chicken.
Yeah, there's a lot of gunk on it.
And it's a big surface area of the cleaver, so you can clearly see this is not a done bird. But we all know Jack has a secret escape hatch for underdone chicken. 1 minute in the microwave, guys. It'll be fine.
So after he cleaves off one of the legs, toward the thigh,
at time index 9 minutes and 5 seconds. If you pause it there, and Jack is in his muumuu toga shirt dress that he's wearing.
I swear it's a nightshirt or something.
It looks like Tammy's. I swear to God, if it didn't have the breast pocket on it, I'd swear to God he's wearing a nightgown. You can see once he hacks off the leg of the poor Cronenberg, you can see into the chicken, and it is dark red,
bloody
where
red.
Where the joint is, where he cut off it's any meat near the bone is raw.
Right, yeah.
It's not underdone. It's raw.
Putting that silicone mat down probably retarded the cooking process on that bottom half.
She used it as a verb, folks. That is the proper term.
The breast was also pink like that when he was spinning it around. All of that is on that bottom part.
Oh, because it's breast side down. You're right. And it's next to the silicone baking. And again, why do you use silicone baking pan? Because it keeps the heat away. It controls the heat. It keeps things from heating up too much. So everything underneath the chicken, he did it for such a short cooking time. I know he didn't say 425. We'll have to go back and listen through to what he did say. But he definitely did say he did the chicken for 425 for 30 minutes and then turn it down to 4 400. He did not do any of that.
It helps it. It makes it crispy on the
low a
outside. It
temperature,
crisps up the
too
skin.
quick a baking time.
This man has how many cast iron pots and pans? We've seen them all in various videos where he's cooked other bullshit stuff. Why doesn't he put it in a cast iron pan?
Or a roasting pan. We know he has those too.
That's what everybody else has done.
Right.
Like every video that we watched, with the exception of one that used the cast iron skillets to cook them in, and they work. They're really great at that. This was the wrong cooking vessel entirely.
So he's holding the chicken leg because you know he just can't wait to take a bite of it.
After he bites this leg, look inside of the piece that he took.
Yes, he takes his big ass Jack bite and he exposes he rips off most of the flesh. So the inner portion of the leg is visible. And there is not
It is pink AF.
And remember, folks, that's the pink chicken telling you that. So if she says it's pink, she knows pink.
Yes.
Oh, did you see what happened there, pink chicken?
No.
Okay. Time index 9:13. What happens when Jack doesn't like something? He
looks up at the ceiling.
He looks up at the ceiling.
Yep.
Bink. There we go. He hit a raw part.
He said it's interesting. He didn't say it's good or like or like mooing like he usually does.
We did not get a jock bong.
We did not get the jog bong. He says it's interesting because, and then he starts telling whatever his feelings are about the chicken.
He didn't even, as far as Jack bites go, when Jack really wants to eat something, it turns from a jock bong into a guck bong because he activates his own gag reflex. He knew not to take that big of a bite of this chicken. He knew it was undercooked. So he takes a moderate sized bite for Jack, and even with that, he starts talking about how interesting this chicken tastes.
Just pop it in the microwave, Jack. A minute. That should do
perfect.
it. Yeah.
Cures all pink chicken evils.
Again, this is worse than the McCormick bag chicken. It's way more pink than that chicken was. I mean, that had just a little pool of blood in it. This is like an entire chicken's worth of pink chicken.
It's raw chicken.
And salmonella.
This is just a raw chicken. Bones and innards and everything.
Yeah.
Even the gizzards, because they're burning that plastic piece that's stuck to the end of the damn roasting pan.
I don't know that that's ever going to get clean. Like, it's so burnt into it. I don't know.
We'll have to pay attention to his videos and see if a silicone baking mat disappears. I know he has more than one of these, so it might be. But he's going on here about, the flavors, and he's only got like a minute. He reacts to it at like 9:30. At 10 minutes and 13 seconds, we're out. So it's a very short video, and it doesn't have any of his cute outro cards. This is around the time that he realizes he should be bringing his sauce back. He talks about it in teasing news, but very jumps right out of the video. Like, he's just like, yep, I'm done with this.
Interestingly, if you go through and like watch or look through some of the view counts of some of his last videos, this particular video, and I guess the other one too, have the highest view counts that he's had in quite some time.
Now, you know that Pink Chicken and I watch his view counts, and we could tell you, especially in the calendar year 2021, it's just been a slow slide from 6,000 to 5,000 to 4,000. He's kind of hit a plateau. He's plateaued between 3,500 and 45. Reliably, he's getting 4,000 views. Wet brine versus dry brine test part 1, as of this recording, 19,000 views. Jack, the worst cook on YouTube, is back with a bullet, baby.
He started off this diet saying, I'm not hungry at all. All the stuff that I'm eating, the shakes and everything are filling me. In this video, this recording is happening sometime in the morning.
Yep.
He said,
After 10.
I just had my 10 o'clock shake. I'm hungry. Which one is it?
With a caloric restriction program like Profile by Sanford, they want you to drop the weight almost immediately. So they will do a caloric restriction where you're down to about 800 calories. But the way they make up for that is they give it to you in very small, low-calorie shakes. But you get a lot of them. Typically with a Profile by Sanford style plan, you're going to eat 5 to 6 times a day. Now, I say eat. What I really mean is you're going to have 3 shakes and a little tiny candy bar type protein bar, and then at the end of the day you're going to have something very small, like as little as a cheese stick, a mozzarella string cheese stick. That's what you're going to get, but at least you're eating all throughout the day. But what they tell you is if you're a big guy, your stomach has a lot of space in there. If you don't fill it, you're going to be hungry. In the first 2 weeks, they're like, remember, here's your big ass bottle of water. Drink the whole damn thing. 64 ounces of water plus a day, because your stomach, until it starts shrinking again, again because you've overstuffed it, there's going to be a lot of space in there and you're going to feel hungry. Jack, because Tammy was probably monitoring him closely the first 2 weeks of the diet, because this is like 2 months into it, the first couple of weeks Tammy was like, here's your shake and here's your big bottle of water. Here's your shake, here's your big bottle of water. At a certain point, she started leaving off of drinking the water, and Jack, because he never internalized the need to go on the diet in the first place, he started probably just saying, you know what, I'm not going to drink all that water. I feel full. I go to the bathroom a lot. I'm just going to have the shake. Not realizing that the shake is only about 10 to 12 ounces of fluid. If you don't fill your gut up, that empty gut space, with 30 or 40 ounces of water, you're gonna feel hungry. And the more space in there and the small shake you have for a guy like Jack, it's gonna start, you're gonna get hunger pains.
This is the premise of this video. This is what he opened with after he talked all the fake sponsorships.
So this is Jack realizing that the diet is not gonna be fun, that he's not gonna be fed. So this is when the cogs and the wheels in Jack's little brain start turning of, okay, obviously I'm not gonna be able to have any kind of bread, starch, or wheat product on this. What am I gonna do? I'm hungry. So Jack starts hatching this idea of, she doesn't seem to mind if I eat meat, because meat's just harmless protein. You can have a lot of that. Actually, you can, especially if you're trying to go into some type of keto, especially if you're trying to start some kind of ketogenic process. So Jack starts hatching all of these ways to maximize his protein intake because he thinks it's the only macronutrient he's gonna be allowed. And he starts on this train that takes us from whole roasted chickens to meat marine tips of beef.
When we talked about I think it was the explosive pork tenderloin, when Tammy cut a piece of the pork loin.
Oh, yes.
Because they roasted the pork loin or whatever it was.
Because by that point, she started realizing, oh, he's cheating on his diet. He says, oh, I'm only going to have a little bit of meat, and he's eating a lot of it.
Yeah.
So probably what happened was...
So she cut him like a sliver
yes,
off of that.
Because they went to the diet. Because again, Tammy has stuck faithfully to the diet and has shown it. She's lost like 40 plus pounds.
Yeah, she looks great.
Video.
Yeah.
Right. She's lost the 15 to 20% of her BMI that they tell you can lose in less than 6 months on a caloric restriction plan like Profile by Sanford. Jack has had nowhere near that success with the diet. So you can imagine every week or every 2 weeks they had to go back in the Profile by Sanford office to get their weight monitored and their body scans. You could tell that they were talking with Jack and like, so buddy, what are you doing to like keep yourself on the diet? Guys, I've given up sugar. I don't even think about bread and cookies anymore. And I'm filling myself up with meat. And obviously the counselor pulled Tammy aside. Counselor Macy pulled Tammy aside and said, sweetie, you can't let him keep doing that. First of all, he's using flavors that have sugars and salts in them. That's going to retard his weight loss process. But also, he can't just go hog wild with the meat. The weight's not going to come off. We're caloric restriction here. There is still calories. There's still protein. And if he eats too much meat, then the process of gluconeogenesis happens and it turns into sugar. Your body turns the meat into a sugar and it completely shuts down the weight loss process, which of course Macy probably looked at Jack and Jack was just looking at the ceiling or making small like kitten noises because he doesn't understand and he's all nervous and he's pouting. So she's trying to explain this to Tammy and Tammy's like, okay, I gotta take control of this. Jack, you're not hearing what the diet lady's saying. She's not saying you could have all the meat you want. She's not saying you could have 2 sticks of butter in an Alfredo sauce. You can't eat this way. You're not seeing the whole picture. And what happens when you do that to a man toddler like Jack?
We get the wet brine versus dry brine test, I think.
Right.
I think
he
that's
tries
where we're
to
at.
wiggle it right. The tighter that mommy wife holds on to his hand, the more he pulls away.
He gets away with it to an extent because he's like, well, it's for the show. It's for the show.
Right.
I'm doing it for the show. I'm not going to eat it. It's for the show. And then it goes in the fridge or whatever. And then when she comes home from the gym, work, whatever it is that she does.
Right. Jack, being the toddler that he is, out of sight, out of mind, mommy's away, so that means I don't have to listen. I don't have to listen to mommy's rules when mommy's not in the house. So he eats and then he hides. He hides
or
the carcass.
Cooks.
Right. This video led into the chicken Alfredo dishes. This video led into making all the smoker meat. This video led into every way that Jack fought against the diet program that he didn't want to be on until finally at last, here we are at the end of summer. Jack and Tammy seem to have stopped going to Profile by Sanford. Tammy's lost the weight she wanted to lose, Tammy feels way better about herself, and Jack has sabotaged it constantly with the Jack on the go, saying, oh, when we go here, honey, we can go to Outback. Oh, when we go here, honey, we can go to Buffalo Wild Wings. We can go to Arby's. I gotta do my Jack on the go. I have 2 YouTube channels to sustain,
I really hope that she doesn't fall back because of him and his influence. It's hard. You're the only person doing the diet. If it's 2 people,
if you're not working as a team, if you're not reinforcing each other, you're enabling bad habits, you're going back into the cycle of addiction and codependence. Food addiction is no different than cocaine or nicotine or any other hard drug out there. It's addiction, it's substance abuse, it's enablement, it's codependence, it's all the tips of the trauma iceberg.
I agree with that.
And we have psychoanalyzed Jack enough to know how deep that iceberg goes and how horrific it can be.
Now,
horrific as a piece of undercooked, roasted, buttermilk brined chicken.
Now, he said he wanted to lose 100 pounds. Was it by September or was it by the end of the year?
By the end of the year.
Okay, well, we're not getting to that point. We're done. That's not happening.
One of the ways that a person who doesn't want to be on a diet will sabotage themselves is making way too unrealistic an expectation. It's over optimistic, and his counselor was probably telling him that. Like any diet counselor will tell you, Jack, buddy, you're going to drop weight like a fighter because you're a dude and male metabolisms work that way. You're going to be able to lose 20, 25 pounds, but once that weight's off, it's going to be a slog. To keep doing this, it's going to be a 52-week commitment on your part, and you're probably going to lose 1, maybe 2 pounds a week, but no more than that. Maybe 1 week or 2, you'll once you get on this and you up your fitness game and your insulin resistance starts failing because you've kind of gone into a little bit of ketosis, you'll start losing maybe you'll get to the almost 2 pounds a week. But really, you're in for a slog because you've really altered your metabolism. You've deformed yourself. We're trying to fix that. And Jack, living in man-toddler world, was like, no, you don't understand. I'm the magic special boy. I know I could lose 100 pounds. He's talking himself out of it. By talking it that high, then what happens? Jack is subconsciously setting himself up for the inevitable fall. Oh, I was supposed to lose 50 pounds by now. I've only lost 30. And I have to lose 50 more pounds in the next 6 months. That's not gonna happen. Diets are for losers. I should eat what I want. God's gonna take me anyway. Why interrupt his good work?
And this is my theory as to why he stopped the live streams too. Like, he's tired of people asking him, how's the weight loss going? How's the diet going?
Right.
What are you up to?
In the beginning, when Jack was when Jack was 1 or 2 weeks into the diet and he dropped his weight, he did the slim fast thing. You go on liquids, you drop weight like a fighter, you're down 18, 20 pounds. Now everybody's telling you how good you look. Now everybody's telling you, hey, it really looks like you lost some weight there, Jack. Of course, we didn't, but because we didn't think he did. You get a lot of that early success. The problem is that's hard to sustain, especially with a guy like Jack who's not putting all the pieces together. We just watched Jack eat 2 whole chicken sandwiches for the sake of a taste test at a Buffalo Wild Wings, as if anybody out there has a burning desire to know how much of a difference is there between the 4 chicken sandwich choices at the Buffalo Wild Wings. First of all, you're at a wing joint. Why are you getting sandwiches anyway? Why does bread have to come into the picture? Why are you getting all the sandwiches?
And breading. And they were breaded chicken too. Yeah.
Bread on bread.
Yeah.
Which is what's telling us that Jack is no longer even casually associated with the Profile by Sanford diet plan.
If he is, he's lying to himself and to us.
And basically, he's pushed through the barriers. The barriers are broken. Mommy wife Tammy, broken. Life counselor Macy, broken.
She's probably done with him.
Banging her head off the desk. Like, Why did I tell him he could make keto Alfredo? Why did I tell him? It's gone up the chain. The Sanford Health System is the biggest not-for-profit medical system in the Dakotas. They have like 48,000 employees. I'm sure by this point, the videos of Jack, as he throws their Profile by Sanford logo everywhere and keeps talking about it incessantly, especially with 19,000 views on his Nightmare Cronin chicken, I'm sure word has gotten back to the corporate headquarters. Can you imagine the vice president of marketing and public relations for Profile by Sanford sitting in his office, and intern Timmy comes in and says, you know Jack Scalfani's advertising us? Brad behind the desk, Brad the vice president goes, who the hell's Jack Scalfani? And little Timmy the intern goes, he's the worst chef on YouTube. And Brad's like, and I don't care. care. He's advertising our product. Well, that's stupid. We'd never give him a sponsorship. Who'd be dumb enough to... Wait. And then he starts reading his email. Oh God, I should have been paying attention to the Tennessee branches. Oh God, what is this man doing? What is he eating? Is he using jarred Alfredo sauce in a keto recipe? Oh God, you just hear the screaming as the camera pulls back from the Profile by Sanford corporate tower in South Dakota. Yeah, a man screaming in horror.
Yeah.
It's pretty, just imagine a face
and that
frozen in an O-shaped rictus of fear and pain.
And that was before...
That's our review of this video.
And that was before Brad got to see this video.
Yes.
He was screaming before that happened.
Right.
And just imagine when he sees this one.
His logo, the Profile by Sanford logo, is now indelibly linked because the internet ain't written in pencil, it's written in black Sharpie marker. This Profile by Sanford logo is indelibly attached to twerking Cronenberg chicken. All brought to you by Jack Salmonella Scalfani, the favorite target of derision by your two favorite podcasters.
That would be me, Pink Chicken.
And I, Tom the Lazy Man, or as you know us,
Pink Chicken and the Lazy Man. With extra pink chicken this week.
Indeed.
Lots and lots of it.
That's all for us, folks. We will join you for part 2 of Wet Brine versus Dry Brine.
And the second part's even worse.
Indeed.